Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ruby, and for today's tutorial I'll be taking you through the process on how I made this beautiful dress, from the pattern drafting to the sewing. I'll be taking you through everything. So if this is your first time of coming across my channel, please do well to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and press the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. So let's get right to the video. So I'll be using a pattern paper for this illustration. So right now I'll be marking her armhole line, which is 8. So you can get your armhole line by dividing your bust measurement by 6, then you plus 1.5. anything you have there, that's your own armhole line. So right now I'm marking her bust point, her under bust, and her half length, which is 17 plus 1 inches for sewing allowance, making it 18 inches. So I'm just making that dot into a straight line. So this is going to be a very simple tutorial if you just concentrate on what I'm saying and what I'm doing, and I promise you can actually recreate yours too. So the next thing for us to do is to introduce her shoulder measurement. Her shoulder measurement is 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll be marking that 8 inches at her armhole line, and this is her shoulder line right now. So I'll be marking that 8 inches also at her shoulder line. Then I'll just be connecting those 2 dots into a straight line, just like this. So the next thing for us to do is to introduce your bra cup. The bra cup I'll be using is 2 inches bigger than her bust measurement. So if your bust measurement is 40, I'll advise you to use 42 inches, something bigger than your bust measurement actually, or 41, but not more than 2 inches. So right now I'm just marking half inches at her bust line, at her under bust, and I'll be marking it also at her half length, just half inches at this side which I'm marking. Then you just draw a straight line to connect all of them together, just like this. So the next thing for you to do is to place your bra cup like this. Now I'm not placing the bra cup straight. If you notice, it's actually in a slanted form. So that is how you're going to be placing the bra cup. Let the tip of that side be touching that half inches we created or we marked, just like this. Just place it like this, and make sure it's also touching your under bust line. Make sure it's touching your under bust line like this. Then you now trace out the bra cup on your pattern paper. Just trace it out like this. So like I said, you'll be tracing it out like this exactly. Then we're not going to be sewing on this line, mind you. We're going to be adding half inches to this line we just created for our bra cup, because now if you add half inches to it when you're sewing, you make use of that half inches, then it will now become the exact line we drew for our bra cup. You get, but I'll be using the half inches as our sewing allowance. That's why you're not supposed to sew without adding your allowance. So right now I'm just adding the allowance at the bra cups, at the line we created with our bra cup. I'm just adding half inches allowance to it, just like this. Just like this. And guys, we're almost ready with our front pattern. The next thing for us to do is just to take our dart. Now I'll be taking her dart using her nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'll be placing that 4 at her half length, and I'll be coming up at her under bust line. I'll be placing that 4 to also there. Now at our half length, I'll be taking a dart of half inches at both sides. So after taking my dart at the half length, when you go to your underbust like this, you are not to take any dart of half inches at both sides anymore. You're just going to connect the three dots you have at your half length to the one dot you have at your underbust. I hope you understand. Now just watch what I'm doing. Now I'm going to connect this at that 4 inches which we marked as our nipple to nipple measurement, just like this. Then this other half inches, we're still going to connect it to that 4 inches we marked at our underbust. Now this is the dart we are to take for this project. So the next thing for us to do is to take our body measurement. So I'm just using my marker to just make it visible for you guys to see what you are supposed to do. Now this is how you're just going to take your dart. This is how you're supposed to take your dart. So like I said, the next thing for us to do is to take our body measurement. So your body measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. And we're not going to be taking our body measurement the regular way we do. You are going to place your bra cup exactly the way you placed it before to trace it out. You're going to place it like that, and you now take your bust measurement. Now your bust measurement divided by 4, like I said initially, plus 2 inch allowance. So this is how you are supposed to take your measurement. Don't take it without adding your bra cup to it. So this is me now just taking her bust measurement. So when you finish taking her bust measurement, you will now take her half length measurement or her waist measurement. Her waist measurement, that is her waistline. So her waist measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches, then plus 1 inches for the dart we took. Remember, we took half inches at both sides for the dart, making it 1 inches we used at the waistline. So you're supposed to add that back when you are taking your measurement. So that is what I did. And the next thing for us to do is just to draw our armhole curve. Just like this, just draw your armhole curve. Just like this. So we're basically through with the front pattern. Now just watch the way I cut. Just watch how I cut this, so that you won't make any mistake when you're doing yours. And please let me remind you that this pattern paper is not on fold. So when you are cutting this on your actual fabric, please, the front part is supposed to be on fold. Don't forget, so that you're not going to cut pieces. The front part, that's that place we measured half inches from the bust line to the half length. It's supposed to be on fold. That part is supposed to be on fold, so please don't forget that. And this is how I'm cutting the bra cup curve. This is how I'm cutting it, just like this. Remember, I told you you're not going to cut at the actual curve, the first one. We're cutting the second one. So right now we're just going to be cutting our dart. If you check the picture well, you'll notice that there is actually a back at the downside of the dress. So that is what we are going to be making next. But you need to make this one before you actually do that. Some people do it together actually, but I would advise you to do it like this. So we're just going to introduce another piece of paper like this, and I'll be using my pin, or you can use your masking tape to just hold it down together. So I don't have a masking tape, so I'll be using my pin to just hold. This is the front part now, the front piece of the front part. So I'll just be holding it down on the paper I introduced new. And for the side piece, which I'm going to introduce later to you guys, this is the side piece. I'll be holding it also down with my pin. See, now I'm closing the dart line. Now you're supposed to close the dart line So if you're a beginner, I'll advise you to actually use a masking tape so that you close this dart line very well. It's not going to be shaky. So I advise you to use a masking tape actually. So I'm just still pinning my side piece to the paper I introduced, and right now I am going to be adding an additional 6 inches to this. I'll be adding 6 inches to this. So from that 6 inches, I'll be using my ruler to just draw a slanted line to meet that 6 inches, just like this. Then I'll just cut it out. Just cut it out. And the next thing for us to do is to bring down our that line. I'll just bring it down like this and just cut it also. Now this is it. Very, very, very simple. I'm just trimming out the excess at this side, and this is it for the front part. This is it. I'm just placing my cup for you guys to see how you're supposed to place your cup. Extremely simple, guys, extremely simple. So the next thing for us to do right now is to draft out the back pattern. So for our back pattern, I'll be placing my tape rule at my shoulder line from the tip of my pattern paper, and I'll be marking her armhole line, which I told you is 8 inches. And the next thing for me to do is to mark her half length, which is 18 inches. So I'm just going to be making that dot into a straight line. And as usual, the next thing for us to do is to mark her shoulder measurement. I'll mark her shoulder measurement at her armhole line and at her shoulder line, just like this, and I'm going to connect it with a straight line. So remember I told you that for the back piece there will be no zip, so as you can see I didn't add any zip allowance to it. We're going to be working with loops, so we're going to be subtracting 4 inches from this pattern paper, 4 inches, and the 4 inches is going to start from her armhole line to her half length line. So just like this. Then we are to take our body measurement. So your body measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inch allowance as your sewing allowance. So that's what you're going to be marking at your bust line and at your waistline. So you divide your bust measurement by 4 and you add 2 inches to it, and you divide your waist measurement by 4 and you add 2 inches to it. So that is how you're going to come about it. So right now I'm just adjusting. I want the back line to start at 7 inches, not 8 inches. So I measured 7 inches and I am going to draw a line at 7 inches. Just like this. I'll be starting my dress from 7 inches because I felt 8 inches was actually down for me. So right now I'm just drawing my armhole curve, and the next thing for us to do is to cut. So just watch and see how you're supposed to cut your back pattern. So there will be a part 2 for this video, and for the part 2 I'll be showing you guys how to how to join it together, how to create your channels, to add your bonings, how to make your bra cup. I will show you guys at the next video I'm going to post after this. So just watch out for it. And right now I'm just cutting this part out. This part, we're not going to be making use of it. We're not going to be making use of that part I just cut now. So I'm just going to introduce my front pattern, and I'm just like joining it with the back pattern like this. So this is how you are supposed to join your fabric. When you cut this pattern paper on your fabric, this is how you are supposed to join after you cut your pattern on your pattern paper. So this is actually the end of the part 1. There will be a part 2 for this video where I'll be showing you guys how to cut and join the dress. So I hope to see you on my next video. That part 2 is going to be the next video I will post after this. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're subscribed already. So guys, see you on my next video. Bye.